So if you're watching this, if you're a life coach or an author or both, because those do complement each other quite well, then you're definitely in the right place. So I'm going to jump straight into the teaching, because I personally hate those long salesy webinars where the instructor takes 15 minutes to sell themselves to you and then does a hard sell again at the end. So I said before that I think it's very, very important that a lean solopreneur business owner who's got a very tiny budget doesn't get sucked into doing Facebook ads straight away, because that will eat your budget so quickly that you'll have nothing left before you know it. I know a lot of people have made this mistake. I've felt the pull. I've been tempted too, because a lot of the training that's advertised, it's so cleverly written and it's so tempting, and you really believe that if I follow this formula and I get my ads written well and they're targeted well, the right people will find me and they'll sign up for my products and services and I'll have a business really quickly. And unfortunately, it rarely works like that. So tip number 1 is referrals are a small business owner's best friend. So even today, in this digital high-tech age of everything's on social media, everything's online, you would easily imagine that the best route to market is online as well. But actually, no. Humans are still humans. Our brains are still pretty much wired the same way as when we were cavemen. We work the same way. We're still social creatures, and there's still nothing as valuable as a genuine referral. So someone who's been your customer, even if they weren't a paying customer. So in this example, let's say you're a life coach and you've just qualified and you want to start charging for your services. Really common scenario. Perhaps the only customers that you've had before now have been your free non-paying practice clients. So perhaps they're people that you found on websites such as coachmefree.com, and you've done maybe 2 or 3 sessions with them and they haven't paid you a penny for it, but you've still had a value exchange. They've still experienced your work as a coach. These people could write you a testimonial. They could be a referral for you. They might even come back themselves as a paying customer. Now, because if they're referring you to their friend who might become your paying customer, because it's a person that they trust referring you, saying, hey, do you need a coach? Because I've had this coach was fantastic. You can trust them. They're legitimate. They're trained. They know what they're doing. I got a really great outcome. There is nothing as valuable as someone that you trust referring a person to you. Think about when you're looking for someone to provide you with a product or service. If you're looking for them on the internet and you've got no one to refer somebody to you, you're just literally going on internet search, isn't it quite scary and also quite overwhelming? Because you look at all these different websites. Maybe you've hunted for your own coach in the past and you've not had someone referred to you, so you've looked online. You see adverts on Facebook, you see adverts on Google Ads, you see all these different coaches' profiles on lifecoachdirectory.com or coachmefree.com, wherever you're looking. And it's overwhelming. And, you look at all these people and you think, wow, on paper they all look fine, but how do I choose? How do I know who's right for me? And it's quite a big leap from looking at someone's profile to contacting them for a free consultation, because I know a lot of us offer free consultations because we think that's an excellent way to secure a new client. But it's actually quite hard for that new client to agree to pick up the phone or to come on Skype and talk to you, because a lot of us are quite scared that we're going to be sold to, or we're going to feel awkward and stuck, and like we'll have to say yes to working with that coach, whether we want to or not. So yeah, there's a few reasons why that's awkward and weird. So when someone's been referred to you personally, there's that warm sense of, okay, this is safe, and you've already got a common thread there. The person who referred the coach to the client is like having a friend in common when you meet someone new. You're friends with so and so. Well, we've got something in common. It really sort of warms that whole process up and makes it just so much easier. And certainly I found for me, when I launched my marketing practice, it was, again, the same rule applied. It was always the referred clients that were the easiest for me to convert from prospects to clients, because they hadn't found me coldly on the internet. They hadn't They hadn't just seen, you know, my profile somewhere and thought, maybe I'll check her out. And I didn't have to sell them hard and explain who I was at any great detail, because I came recommended by someone that they trusted. And this is what makes all the difference. Every referral I've ever had, bar two, in all time, have converted to customers. And that's amazing. That's an amazing conversion rate, and it's completely unheard of online. And it's that human element. So I think I've probably made my point clear enough. So let's talk about some practical steps that you can take to make referrals actually work for you and your business. So, for example, something I did very recently was I changed my business model. I stopped doing a certain type of marketing work to do a different type of marketing work. I won't bore you with the details, but how that ended was that I needed to get different clients, or maybe just re-engage some old clients who didn't yet know that they needed the new thing that I was offering. So I know as a marketer that referrals are a new business owner's best friend. So I wrote an email, just one template that I wrote on Word, and then I BCC'd it to all my old different clients so that they couldn't see each other, because obviously data protection and that sort of thing. But basically I was writing one email that was going to many, many people. So this was a scalable thing that wasn't going to take me all day. It was one quick job. And I asked them for, you know, if they remembered working with me, if they were happy with it, did they have a positive outcome that they'd be willing to share as a testimonial? And of course, if I could do something in return for them, please do ask. I told them what I was up to in my business, so it was had a bit of a newsletter vibe to it as well. And I just asked, you know, if you know anyone that would benefit from working with me, would you please consider referring me, because that would be really, really helpful. And yeah, there you go. That's all you have to do. I know it can be hard to ask for things from people sometimes. If you're watching this in Britain, if you're British like me, us British people can be a little bit awkward about asking for things, but when you're marketing yourself, you don't have to go hard and crazy hard sales on this, but you do need to push yourself a little bit out of your comfort zone, and you do have to ask sometimes, because you know you've got to close a sale every now and again. You've got to promote yourself a little bit. You've got to say, hey, this is what I've got to offer and this is why I'm worth it. And I know that can be hard, but it's something that it's really worth working on. I'm not saying blow your own trumpet hard and be a jerk about it. I'm just saying get comfortable with saying, this is the value I bring. Would you benefit from that? Because it's makes a huge difference to your business. So that's tip number 1. So tip number 2 is all about the content that you're going to create for your website, for your social media, for anything that you do online. And it's really about not overthinking it, not letting your monkey mind get too involved and stop you from sharing from your heart. And the other part of that is to share from your heart. It's absolutely critical. So as a marketer, I can tell you that story is really, really important in marketing. Everything you do needs to have a little bit of a story in it. Partly because you need to invoke a bit of the reader's imagination so that they can imagine themselves in that story with you. But more importantly, it's about sharing something real of who you are. So share a bit of your story wherever you possibly can. Now, this doesn't mean that if you've had like a horrible past that you have to share all of that, guts and all. Some people do that. I'm a bit of an oversharer, I must admit. But if it's not for you, that's absolutely fine. You've got full editorial rights over your story. So share what you're comfortable with, hold back what you're not comfortable with, and above all, just make sure that it comes from here and not up here, because, and this is particularly true when we're writing. So if we're doing any copy for the website, or if we're doing any blog posts or anything that they're going to share on social media. So if you share from up here, it'll be fine, you know, it'll be logical, it'll make sense, and there's nothing wrong with it, but it probably won't capture the imagination of many people. If you share from here, it will capture so many people's attention, and you know, it can be wildly imperfect as well. It can have horrible grammatical mistakes, but people won't judge you like you worry that they will. If it came from here, it will speak to other people on the heart level. It will make so much difference. I've really overshared in the past. I've put a lot of my backstory out there, even on LinkedIn, which is supposed to be quite a formal place. But you know, people like it because one, they don't expect that much honesty, and two, they can relate to it because it's real. But also, I've got this thing about video. A lot of my clients are really nervous about going on video, and I keep encouraging them to try it because I know how good it is for marketing your business. When you speak to someone on video, you get much more of, like when you're watching me now, you're getting much more of a sense of who I am than you would if you were just reading some copy on my website or reading just a text post on my Facebook page. You'd get a teeny sense of who I am, but here you're getting much more of an idea of my personality. And that's what I want my clients to do as well, because I think it would be so good for their businesses. And a lot of them are worried that they're going to do it wrong. And I keep saying to them, like, there is no wrong, not really. I mean, if you did something really awful, then, you know, if you committed a crime or something on camera, that would be terrible. That would be a really bad PR mistake. But in general, the things that they're worried about is they're worried about bad lighting, they're worried about stammering or mispronouncing something or looking silly. And the thing I keep saying to them is, you should be imperfect on video because it's real. If somebody is too perfect and too edited and polished, we pick up on that. Not always consciously. Sometimes it's sort of subconscious and at the back of our brain, but we know when things don't quite look right and it's uncomfortable. You know, when you've watched an advert that's been dubbed from another language and it's just a teeny tiny bit out and it makes you so uncomfortable. That's that sort of cognitive dissonance feeling that we get from people that are too perfect. And yeah, no, I really much prefer to see people being real on camera. I used to really love this app called Periscope. I don't know if you remember it. It does still exist, but I don't use it anymore. It was like Facebook Live, but for Twitter. And I started following a marketer on there called Jennifer Kem, and she works for Lisa Nichols, who's quite famous in the US. She's a really popular motivational speaker. So Jen Kem's quite a big marketer. And what I loved about her so much was that she was so real on camera. And she'd have days where she would be at a training event or a marketing expo. So she'd be fully dressed up from head to toe, hair, makeup, high heels, the lot. And she'd go on camera and she'd present just like that on Periscope as well as what she was doing. But then other days she'd go on Periscope and she'd have no makeup on, messy hair, trackies, pajamas, whatever. And she'd just be real about it. And she'd be like, hey, I'm not working today. I'm exhausted because I did this event yesterday, but I've come on Periscope to talk about this for 10 minutes. Please excuse my hair. And I loved how real that was. And I've been encouraging my clients to look at her for an example, because that level of authenticity, I think, speaks to us so much more than somebody who's absolutely perfect and, you know, overly made up, perhaps even a bit airbrushed. Nobody can relate to that because it's not real. In fact, it's intimidating and off-putting. So the bottom line, what I'm really saying here is, don't try and be perfect because it's rubbish and it puts people off. Be real, aim for authenticity, aim for a heart connection, share from here. If you make the odd typo, if you stammer on a video, it is not the end of the world, okay? It's real, and people buy people at the end of the day. So be a person. My tip is be a person. Okay, let's move on to tip number 3. So my third and final tip for you is more of a technical one, and this is about the order in which you build the various steps that your customers are going to take on the journey to becoming your paying customer. So from cold leads to warm leads to customers, this journey is often referred to as the sales funnel. If you think, and I'm showing you a graphic here, yes, I'm in reverse on my video. I'm showing you a graphic here. This relates to what I said before about not being perfect on camera. So anyway, so look at this graphic. You see at the top you've got, no, I can't do it. I'm just not going to point. So you can see you've got cold leads at the top, and the triangle is upside down. It's the widest part at the top because that's the most people. So you're going to get like hundreds and thousands of people could be your cold audience. So Facebook fans, LinkedIn connections, people that you went to school with, you know, just sort of people that barely know you but will become aware of you because of the content that you're putting out on the internet, the events that you're speaking at, all the things you're doing to get seen as a small business. So from there, Not all of them, but some of them, and this is why the triangle gets smaller, some of them will become your warm leads. So these are people that have expressed a bit of interest in your business. Perhaps they've downloaded a free guide that you produced. Perhaps they've spoken to you on LinkedIn Messenger and had a little chat about the services that you offer. Perhaps they've had a free consultation at some point, or they've had some sort of meaningful interaction with you. So they've been warmed up and they're much more likely to become your customer. Back in tip 1, when we talked about referrals, these people bypass being cold. They come straight into warm leads. Fantastic. That's why it's so valuable. And then right at the bottom of the triangle, the narrowest part, these are the people that actually convert and become your real paying customers and clients. So this is just, the funnel is really just the customer journey. It's not always a one-directional straight journey down. Sometimes people will start cold, become warm, they'll go cold again, they'll come back to warm. Sometimes people become customers of one product or service, and then you will have a new product or service, and perhaps they'll sidestep diagonally up into becoming a warm lead for the next thing because they're interested before they become a customer again. So don't think of it as being very linear, but it's a general rule of thumb. So when you're planning how to promote your new products and services so that you can get some new clients in there, you need to think about building a sales funnel for each product or service that you offer. Now, something very important I believe in and I teach all my clients is to build their funnels in reverse. And I've gone on about this before in blog posts and on LinkedIn. I think it's really important. A lot of people will build their journey in the order that you see it as a customer. So the cold audience, when you're promoting to them, perhaps they're reading your blog posts. So people will think about putting their content out there first before they've got anywhere for the cold audience to progress to become the warm audience. So what I mean by that is, if you're brand new and you haven't really put in writing and made your new services bookable yet, but you've started promoting yourself on social media with blog posts, and you're out there going blah blah blah, coaching stuff, psychology, blah 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 blah, and people who are a cold audience are starting to read it and are starting to become interested. If they wanted to engage with you more and become your warm audience member, what would they do? If you've built your funnel, then they've perhaps got a web page they can go to read more about you and to perhaps book a free consultation. If you haven't built your funnel, there's nowhere for them to go. They're not going to remember you for months on end while you mess about building your funnel. They're going to go cold again, and they're going to stay cold, and they're going to get bored, and they're going to go to a different coach. So if you build your funnel from the bottom up, start at the bottom, think about your customers. If someone is to become your customer, how are you going to secure them, and how are they going to work with you? Maybe you need an online calendar app so that they can book appointments with you. Maybe you need to set up your PayPal business account so that they can pay you for sessions. It's going to be different for everybody's business, but decide first what those things are for you, because if you're a business, you need to be making money. So, all the goodwill and good intentions in the world aside for a moment, you do need to make money to survive as a business. So how do you take that money? How do you book in those sessions? How do you book those products and services? How do you provide them? That's the bottom of your funnel. That's the customer level stuff. Build that first. Then go backwards. Go up to warm leads. When somebody is a warm lead, they've engaged with you quite a lot. They've seen all your social media posts, they're starting to really like who you are. They want to book and become a customer. How do they do that? Is there a page on your website where they can read about your coaching packages, push a button and go to the booking page to become a customer, to convert from warm to customer? That needs to be built, okay? You've got to have that in place. And I know a lot of people at this point, when they're new, they're overwhelmed by all the tech that's available online. So instead of building in booking buttons and booking forms and payment options and stuff to their website, instead, what they typically do, and I've seen so many people do this, they will typically write a little bit of copy on the website about these are the packages I offer, and then they'll round it off by saying, if you're interested, please drop me an email to discuss further, and they just leave their email address. They don't even have a button or a form. There's so many things wrong with this, okay? People are lazy. I include myself in this. I would also click away from this website I've just described. If you want somebody to book an appointment with you, they've got this split second to decide that they're willing to do it. And you know what? If it's for coaching or some sort of psychological therapy, the chances are that your potential customer is scared, they're nervous, they're uncomfortable, they're out of their comfort zone. Don't make it harder for them by making them click away from their website, go to their inbox and type in your email and send you an email about it. That feels like a lot for someone who's already scared and nervous to do. And it's not just that it's overwhelming and it feels scary and we don't want to do it. Think about what else is going on in their inbox. If you make them click away from your website and go to their inbox, there are, 10, 20 emails sitting in there ready to distract them. The chances are they're going to forget all about you and never send you that email. If you want to convert your leads into booked customers, then you need to make it super easy for them and do not make them click away from your website, please. So what I really want you to take away from this is it's essential to put a booking form. If nothing else, if you only do one thing that I've described, put a very simple contact form on that web page so people can drop in their name, drop in their email address and wait for them to hear from you. If you capture their name and their email address, you can contact them and say, hey, you were on my website, you inquired about this. Would you like to tell me a little bit more about what you need and let's discuss how I can help you? You can reach out to them and make it less awkward, less hard for them to connect with you. You will capture so many more people that way. So if you only do that one thing, please do that. If you can do more, if you can fight the overwhelm of all the techie things that are online, and by the way, I can help you with this in my membership program if that's what you need. There's so many free things that you can incorporate into your website. There are booking calendar apps. People can book a free consultation with you. You can put a PayPal button on your website so people can pay straight away. This stuff it makes such a difference because people decide very quickly in this day and age. We are the buy it now, worry about it later generation. So they don't generally browse and come back to your website 6 or 7 times. They will decide if they want to book right there and then. So make it easy for them or else you will lose them. So, okay, that was a bit of a rant, but I think it's really important. So that stuff needs to be in place. Once you've made it possible for people to pay you, to book a free consultation with you, then go to the top of your funnel where they're cold leads. Now you can start engaging cold leads because you've got a full funnel in place that you've just built to funnel them down. Now it makes sense. So when you're talking to your cold audience, this is things like blog posts, videos, Facebook Lives, email marketing, speaking at events. All of these things are going to get people interested in you and move them further down your funnel. And if you've built it in reverse, everything is in place and you're not going to lose any potential customers. And in the early days of building your business, you do not want to lose any potential customers. You can't afford to. So please do take what I've said there seriously. It makes a hell of a difference. It makes so much difference to your business. So just make sure that once you are ready to start shouting about your products and services and marketing yourself, talking to the wider world out there, make sure that you've got a very well-built funnel to bring them down so that you don't lose them. Okay? So I hope that's all been really valuable for you. This video isn't going anywhere, so you can bookmark this URL, you can come back and you can watch it again as many times as you need to. And I really hope that it does make a difference to your business too.